Hi everyone, my name is Aishi and welcome to What It Takes to Be. Today we have Mr. Ajay Kumar with us, and he is currently working as a technical project manager. He has nearly 20 years of experience and he will tell us more about his job today. Thank you for being here with us today, Ajay sir, and taking time out of your busy schedule to guide students who are exploring different careers. Could you please tell us a little bit about what a technical project manager does?
So I'll first of all thank you all for giving me this opportunity to leverage my learnings and my experience in the future for the freshers or those who are inspiring to come for this job. Uh, I am a technical project manager for more than about like 12, 14 years now, almost 14 years, and total experience is about like 20 years. I started my career as a developer. So I started with my development in C, C++, and Java-based platforms where I was into a development career for about 7 and 8 years. And from there, I shifted towards what is called as a project management and other, people now need the technical project managers. So, a technical project managers are not the people who are expected to actually do hands-on or develop the code, but then they are expected to know about the technology and should be able to understand the technology when they are talking to the team or when they're talking to the customer or when they're talking to the stakeholders, so that they can minimize the dependencies uh, in the discussions when some of the team members may not be available, or people are sometimes having difficulties in understanding, because oftentimes it happens that business is not able to give the technical, and technical is not able to understand the business, or vice versa. So there is somebody who needs to bridge that gap. So technical project management role comes into that play, where having blends of both project management and technical helps, and that is the utilization or application in the current market for a technical project manager.
Okay. So what does a typical day look like for you?
uh, Most of the activities in a typical day are related to management, but then technical comes in picture. My job normally stands up in the early in the morning. The reason being is I'm working with offshore teams, and that also increases the need of a technical project manager, because the team is not available to the customers during the business hours, and only the person who is available is the technical project manager in front of the customer, who has to take the responsibility of the entire team. So uh, my day starts with checking of the emails in the morning, and I see what are the responses of my team members in terms of whatever the queries have been sent to them, or the follow-ups on the tasks I'm expecting to get them completed. The next job is I start up with my day with a call with my offshore team, and I go through with those responses and understand what it technically means, so that when I'm going into the meetings, or if I'm answering any further emails or talking to the customer, I understand that, and be able to explain that. I don't need to be core developer here, but I need to understand some of the technicalities and answer some of the things to the customer technical folks. And after that, my meeting is done with my offshore team members, and then I and get into my regular business of replying the other emails from the client, and follow up on the tasks which were supposed to be completed or not completed. Attend certain meetings during the day. Certain meetings are with management, where I have to update the status of the project in terms of how we are doing, and are we on time or not. Are we still be able to meet the deadlines in terms of the dates we have talked about? Are there any impediments which are stopping us to complete our work? What do we need to do, resolve them? And if we are not able to resolve them, what could be the impact? Can we live with that for another 2 days, or is something which we need to look into today? And explain everyone why we are asking for certain things, and why we cannot complete certain things the way we talked about, or what are the changes which are coming in now, because certain times the requirement are not be able to be implemented technically the way the customer is expecting. So there might be some tweaks or adjustments needed, that so we have to negotiate and talk. So that's typically a day wherein I'm talking to people most of the times, and in between responding to the emails as well.
Okay. So what education or training is required?
So both, the technical training, theoretical training, as well as the practical understanding is required. I acquired my professional training on the project management based on the PMI, which most of the people do. So you have to get a certified PMP course to be done to be a good project manager, unless you learn a lot within your experience. But still, a certified or an educated, formally educated project manager is a better person in the market. And I am a certified project manager in terms of based on the PMI. So I did it internally through my organization. When I was working on that, it was I did it a part-time 2.5 years course and attended a couple of trainings in terms of how do you understand the requirements, how do you identify risks in the project, how do you negotiate on the commercials, how would you negotiate on the scope of the project, how would you deal with situations which are kind of like deadlocked and contradictory to each other. So a lot of things you learn in the practical experience, but to handle the practical experience, you also need the theoretical knowledge. So it's just like while you're driving the car, you need to know some basics, and basic education is needed, that how the accelerator is working, how the brakes is working, and how the indicators or the signals are working. So you need to get the theoretical knowledge, but then you need the practice also to drive the car to improve your driving skills, and they both go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how somebody who's looking for a project management experience or a career in the project management area needs to get to the formal training and education on the project management, and then do the practice while they're implementing. And if a person is from a technical background, and then they carry their additional flavor of the technicality also over the new job, and that acts as icing over the cake. So that's why technical project managers are more in demand than a typical project manager.
Okay. And what are some of the skills required to be a technical project manager? Like you mentioned before that you did like C++ and you learned some coding before.
Mhm.
So and you also talk to people every day. So is that like one of the main skills that you need?
So, being a technical project manager, the core skill is still on the project management side, and technical is not overpowering the project management skills. So, but yes, it's good to be technical. Like I started with my career on C++, and Java, so I was more technically trained on that. But over a period of time, and I was working on the projects which were more based on C Sharp or .NET, I did not find a difficulty in switching to them from the understanding and discussion perspective.
Okay.
So, your one expertise in one technical area helps you to take up another technology as well when you are switching it over the project. So you may not need to be hands-on on something like C Sharp or Java. You can pick it up if you are having the basic understanding of how technically the things work. And that applies not only in the languages, but in the databases, in the front-end tools. So most of the things architecturally work on the same principle, but the semantics is a little different. And once you know about the core functionality or the architect and the principles, you just need to learn about the semantics, which is not a big job to take it up.
Okay. And how are job prospects for entry level professionals?
Uh, Job market nowadays is very good. There are a lot of companies who look forward, for the freshers to give them an opportunity to learn and train them. And freshers nowadays, I will say, are better equipped than what we had in older days. Especially with the campus recruitment and the projects which companies take up with the education facilities is opening up an avenue where even the freshers do get an opportunity to work under the real life projects. So although they are learning and putting their expertise, they are gaining the experience also. So that opens an avenue that when people go out in the real market, they are already trained a year or two. So most of the colleges have the campus recruitments where the companies will come and select the cream. So those people get an opportunity while they are doing their job as a training to get the experience, and that experience counts in the market. It's not that oh, you are just a trainee, so that experience is a part of your course. No, that has a value. So market is good, and people who are having some experience are definitely having an edge over the freshers otherwise.
Okay, so do you think like a person who's like straight out of college can become a technical project manager like as their first job?
Yes.
Okay.
The person can become till the time the person is technically equipped as well as having the basic knowledge of the project management, the person can take up.
Okay. And can you explain a little bit about the difference between a project manager and technical project manager?
So a key difference is that project manager would be more working on tracking and monitoring the information, identifying the risks, and you know working on measuring and sharing the information to the stakeholders in terms of the status reports and all. The key difference will come in that if I have to assess a risk of a particular technology, if I do not know the background of the technology, I will not be able to do a good job. So you're asking a person who is using an Apple phone to tell him that what are the good things in the Samsung.
Hmm.
So unless and until I have the experience of a Samsung phone, I will not be able to compare. So I will not be able to tell you that these are the areas where Samsung will be going good, and these are the areas where Samsung might be a challenge. So while you are using a phone of Samsung, and be careful about that. But then the question comes that will I be able to do a good job because I know how a iPhone or how a mobile phone or how a smartphone works nowadays.
Hmm.
I definitely may not be well experienced in the Samsung phone, but till the time I'm technically equipped that how the smartphone work, I can still handle the good and the bad things about the Samsung phone. I will know, okay, the phone is utilized for making a call, a phone is utilized to browse the network or your social media and all those things. So I can tell anybody that when you are buying a phone, let's say a Samsung phone or an Apple phone or whatever company phone you are taking it, beware of what you're using it for. If you are using the phone for videography and photography, make sure the camera is good, make sure you have enough storage space. So I can identify those kind of the risks and all. Being a generic a typical project manager, if I'm not technically strong, and it will be hard to understand, but the example, if I want to extend the same iPhone thing, is that somebody who has not used a smartphone and is just using the old typical landline phone, if that person has to handle a project for the smartphone, he would not have any idea about how the smartphone works.
Hmm.
In today's world, it's hard to understand, but I'm just giving examples. So if I'm moving to a technology where I have never get an exposure and I'm not even technically equipped with, it will be very hard to pick me up those terminologies and understand the things and do better. So that is the place where technical project management is an edge over the typical project manager. But again, they have their own capacities and capabilities. One is not degraded or not less valuable above the other. It's the demand which decides which is more suitable. And the current market is everybody is working for an efficient solution. A technical project manager in the same cost is able to do a task of two people, so he's more efficient. That's why they have a little edge.
Okay. And what kind of starting salaries are there?
Repeat your question. What kind of?
What kind of starting salaries?
uh, Again, it depends upon pretty good in IT industries are the best paying as far as the starter salaries are concerned for the freshers. So typically a fresher would get a somewhere about like 65 to 70 to 75K starting salaries, be it technical or a project management role, with some additional benefits, depending upon the organization they are working for. And some of the other industries may not be as paying as the IT industries are, but again, it's not too bad. So even in those scenarios, they will be at least getting 55 to 60K as a starter or a fresher in the market.
Oh,
And within a period of a year or so, they get a raise where they can reach to a good level of incomes. And again, depends personally on your performance. So if somebody is really good a performer, then within a year they can reach up to 80 to 90K as well.
okay. And how's the work-life balance?
Work life balance depends upon how do you deal with it. uh, some people are more workaholic and some are more efficient. Typically a efficient project manager is able to balance the work life very well, and there are certain situations in the project where you need more attention, but there are certain relaxed periods also. So how efficiently a manager is able to manage himself will give him the time for the family. So management of time is a very key factor to maintain a work balance life, and it is easily achievable if a person is able to prioritize and understand the needs and implement those techniques in the own work as well. And if one is doing work life balance is always achievable. People are able to take vacations for about a week or two, and they can plan their holidays with the family. And at the end of the every day after work, they're able to spend their time with the family if management of the task and priorities are done. So individually, and implement your knowledge for your own self, you get the time definitely.
Okay. And lastly, what advice would you give to someone who wants to be a technical project manager eventually?
So, my advice to all the professionals in terms of be it a project manager, be it a technical project manager, or be totally a technical person is uh, there are two important things. Everybody, works very hard to get the results for the projects, but at the same time, we have to respect the boundaries of the processes and the limits to which we have to work on for the project. We should not be doing the gold plating. So extra additional features or additional things don't help much, but efficient ways do help. Now I'm not saying that if we are talking to a customer and they are asking for certain things, I just provide them that particular requirement. I need to take more steps and tell them that what they are doing is really an efficient way or not, or are there any shortcomings, is there any suggestion with which I can improve the productivity or of the product which I'm making it and make it more efficient. Yes, that is needed. We don't have to blindly follow the instructions and do and meet the requirement whether it makes any sense or not. So yes, uh, think for anything which may give benefit or value to the customer. That
Mhm.
is very important. And within the same limits, you have to be within the boundary of the processes which you are following in your capacity, so don't compromise them. If that balance is not maintained, we may be landing up in one or the other problem sooner or later.
Thank you so much for being here today, and I sincerely appreciate your time, Ajay, sir.
No, it's a pleasure for me, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity where I'm able to share my experiences with the people who are looking in this arena and could take any benefit out of me. So pleasure is all mine, and thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you.